Hello, everyone. Well, I welcome everyone today to another great Miami YPN class. Welcome back, everyone that's joining us for our second Zoom class. Very excited.
That's why she told me that it came in yesterday.
Guys, please, if you can just mute yourself so we can minimize the background noise. I'll give a minute.
Katherine or Kevin, since you guys are the hosts, you should be able to have an option down where it says participants, and you can mute everybody at the same time, and then it'll ask you whether you want to give us the ability to unmute ourselves.
Yo no tengo experiencia porque no tengo la experiencia personal de que me haya pasado a mí. Pero ¿qué es lo que pasa? Por ejemplo, cuando uno se va a divorciar.
Okay, Antonio, if you can hear me, I see that you're still muted. Unmute yourself.
Got it.
Okay, perfect. All right, as I was saying, welcome everyone. We're very excited to be able to host another great class via Zoom and share some of our knowledge with all of you. You are gonna have the capability to unmute yourself, but please let's leave it until the very end. Just to keep the noise to a minimum. So, and bear with us if we have any technical difficulties. Again, this is our second class. So Antonio and I are going to be sharing our screens with everyone as we go along. All right, so let's begin.
Marco, can you unmute, can you mute yourself, please? Marco Torres, thank you.
Hello.
All right. So I hope everyone's at least a little familiar with, it's one of my favorite applications. It's included in our membership, and I'm a big fan of always learning mostly everything that is available at our fingertips and that we can use. So by knowing exactly how we can generate certain leads with this program, you can definitely increase your business. So let me just move this over here. All right, so my name is Katherine Arteta. I'm the Director of Sales for Realty World, and I've been in the business for a little over 5 years. Antonio?
Hello, my name is Antonio Felix. I'm with Best Choice Real Estate. I'm the sales manager for our office, and I am with the YPN Leadership Board. I am also huge on using the tools that our board provides to us. And that's why we're going to share with you what we have available at our fingertips that we can use on our everyday duties.
So I know we went over a lot of this in last week's farming class, the things that normally agents always do, the old school ways, the calling expireds, for sale by owners, targeting your sphere friends, family, old coworkers, neighbors, store knocking, magazine ads, things we should all still be doing. And then of course the new ways, everything technology-based, social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Google ads, email campaigns. Again, mostly all of us are doing it. So let's try and think outside the box a little bit and now focus in on what most agents are not really doing. Most of them are not really prospecting old expireds. And when I say old expireds, I mean 6 months to a year ago, not the new ones that everyone is calling. Homeowners with equity, renters, pre-foreclosures, and then properties with delinquent taxes. So to start us off with the old expireds, I'm going to give the floor over to Antonio. So I'm going to stop my screen share so he can begin.
Great. I'll take over. And basically, I'm going to go over the steps to find expired listings within the first 6 months to a year. where you're going to be able to find fresh expired listings. Great thing, again, I'm going to recap on this, is that these are all tools provided to us by the board. And these are great tools that you can put to use. So I'm going to start off with the first step. I'm going to go back here on my screen to a new search. I had already downloaded some results for a expired listing search that I have done. Is everyone good? Great. So once you pull up to your gateway, Miami Gateway, select iMAPP from this tab on the right bottom, and just go to the tab, MLS search tab, which is gonna bring in all the information that is available from those expired listings within our association. Here, you can select cities, zip codes, basically the whole county, if you like. But again, we want to stay hyper local. We want to be as specific as possible. So my best example is I try to always study my area. I'm in Hialeah Gardens, zip code 33018, which is the one that I know the most. This is my area, which I've been working for the last six years, going on 7. So here we go. First step is to click on this tab, MLS search tab, right? Once you get to that, you're gonna look for listing status. You wanna find out, you wanna get to the expired, cancel, temporary off the market.
I think this is too basic for me.
What was that?
We'll get to some, wait for it. We have a lot of good stuff in store for you.
Yes. Once you select the expired listings, you got to let the system know how far you want to go back. Again, as Katherine mentioned, and as I repeated, to me, good expired listings go back 6 months to a year. I haven't had any luck with anything that's older than a year. People change their mind, their agent couldn't sell the property, but then they come back again to the market to try to sell it. And you just got to spark that idea on them as to why you're going to be able to sell it. And within my PowerPoint, I had mentioned that if you're farming within your neighborhood, you have a big chance of obtaining that listing, because those people, your neighbors, might have seen you before. I'm pretty sure they've seen you before. They know you. You're not a stranger to them. They know you're their neighbor. So once you get to expire, you want to choose greater than or equal. I usually like to pick greater than. And here's where you're going to start entering your information. As you can see, I had already a search from, I went back to a year to the first day of 2019, 01/01, 2019. And then within this other tab where it says city, you're going to select how local you want to get to. I usually do zip code. So I go to the bottom, zip code, and enter 33018. Again, that's my area. I know many people there, so it's easy for me to hit search. And this is where iMAPP is going to give you all the results. As you guys can see, we have 188 results. These are all expired listings from the beginning of 2019. This is, to me, is fresh information. So I like to cap on those. We have some ideas on what you can do for campaigns, but what has worked out for me is to stop by, say hello, ask why you haven't sold the property. It's a nice property. And are you considering putting it in the market? Again, these people, they're gonna know who you are, not specifically by name or information, but they know you're their neighbor. Again, now we go to the part where you could download. Let me move this over to my left.
Let me chime in for a second.
Go ahead.
What's also so great about old expired listings, and I love to go back anywhere from 6 months to a year, because everyone attacks recent expired listings. All of us that do cold calls, if you're not calling right at 8 o'clock in the morning, let's say you call at 10 or 11 and they pick up the phone, we get usually the same, oh my God, another realtor. And they just either get fed up or they put things on hold. These have not really been prospected anymore. Make sure to put expired, not relisted. That way you know you're targeting expireds that have not relisted with an agent and haven't sold. At one point in time, they had a motivation to sell. That motivation more than likely has not gone away. So it's our job to go establish a relationship, find out what that motivation is. Knowledge is power. Ask the appropriate questions. The scripts really don't change much from the ones we do now. It's just the introduction. And then find that motivation, use it to our advantage, and see if we can get them relisted. Maybe they're not ready right at this moment, but you are probably one of the last agents that they've spoken to that have a good conversation with.
Great, great, great. Another great idea is that I like to provide a market update on that specific neighborhood, free of charge. Hey, look, I noticed your listing expired. I wanted to provide you with some information. Here you go. To me, that's huge. And you're doing a face-to-face contact with the person. So getting back onto iMAPP, if you look over here on your right top, you're going to notice the buttons, the tabs that are going to allow you to download this information, to save it. You can download it, you can save your search, you can print the page, and once you download, you can even create mailing labels. If you want to go the traditional route to mail, you can do it right from here. It will let you save the information where you can then paste it onto the Ivory 5606, whichever one you decide to use to do your mail out. So I'm gonna go here to do a download of results. And what's also cool about iMAPP, it lets you pick the information that you want to put in your mailing labels. So if you come here, it's gonna give you the information, details, and you select on which format you want to download this information. You can do Microsoft Excel, comment separated value CSV, and just go on to download. Give it a few minutes, a few seconds. Okay. I had an issue here, but my information is not downloading. But anyways, to illustrate the purpose, you access your information on your downloads on your computer, and then you're gonna create mail labels. Here's where you're gonna select the name of the owners, the property address, and your label size. Okay. So you can here's gonna allow you to download either in Word and also Excel. Okay, so if you hit this tab here, it's gonna let you download it in PDF. So it should be downloading now, but my computer is having an error with iMAPP. Okay, but to illustrate the process, the example, that's basically how you download all of your information from expired listings. Then you save it onto your computer and you attack those expired listings in the format that works best for you. Again, I have some of the examples that we've mentioned before are great and they've worked for me. I've recuperated a couple of expired listings from my neighborhood, from Hialeah Gardens. So.
Okay, so a couple people had questions. Antonio, can you go back to the search field?
Yeah, definitely.
They were asking how you can cross-reference them with to make sure that they aren't listed or they haven't relisted. So over in the search field. Click
Mhm.
on one of them, or actually where you put expired, click on any one of them and put expired, not relisted.
Expired, not realistic.
So this tab speaks directly with the Miami Association MLS feed. So everything on here will be completely accurate.
It's not here.
So you put expired, not relisted, and then equal to yes. That will make sure that everything you're pulling up has not been relisted in the past or listed now.
Yep. I'm just trying to get to this tab.
I only see expireds.
What was that?
I only see expired dates. I don't see where the expired not relisted is at. Can you find it? Is it there?
Yeah, it's in the search field.
It's in the search field.
Click another search field because you want to keep that field because you're using it. Okay, put listing status, sorry, equal to, and then over in the next one, the third one, put expired, not relisted.
There we go.
All right, so that's going to guarantee that all your results are up to date and they haven't sold and they're not on the market. That way you're not stepping on anybody's toes. Also, somebody was asking about pulling information. You can pull mailing lists from here easily. Just put in your mailing labels that you bought and you could do mass mailings. For phone numbers, this specific tab does not provide phone numbers. You would have to implement another resource, like for example, Redx. And if you give them a call, they can do, they can walk you through the steps of how to pull those specific phone numbers for you to give them a call. But like Antonio said, it's always better, especially if you're doing it in your own neighborhood, just to go and knock on their door and meet them face to face.
So I just did, I'll share a little bit of what I was doing now. I just did a broader search for expired listings. As you guys can see, I went all the way Hialeah. It gave me 527 results of not relisted expired listings. So that's how you get to those expired listings that haven't been relisted. But again, I highly recommend stay within the circle, within a zip code, the area that you work best, that they know you. You're not going to be a stranger to them. Okay, and then the system is gonna allow you to do everything that we have gone through: download result, create mail labels, refine search. And one thing I recommend is always to save this search, because to me it has helped me out a lot to remember the steps on how I make these searches. Remember, iMAPP has a lot of information and a lot of steps. So you save the search and you just go back to the steps and it will bring up any search. You can apply that to different cities, different zip codes, and you're gonna get the results you're looking for. Save search, and it will stay in this. I'm gonna go back to let me move the screen over here. And I'll go back to my new search and I'll show you where you're gonna find your save search right here on this tab. You guys, I think you guys can see it. If you go here, you're gonna find all the searches that you might have from before. I have here searches that I did back in 2016. So there's a great source of information where you can always recap on the steps that you might have missed. Great. Good. Anything else you want to add on this part, Catherine?
Nope, for this part, I think we're good. If you want to stop the screen share and then I'll hop over on my computer.
Okay. Back to you.
All right, so the next part, so I'm not going to go over the PowerPoint. As I had mentioned on the chat, we set up a PowerPoint with, can everyone see my screen first of all? Antonio?
Yes,
Yeah?
I can.
Okay, perfect. So we set up a PowerPoint.
Not yet.
Okay, depending on your internet connection, it should be popping up soon. So we set up a PowerPoint with step-by-step instructions on how you can do this afterwards. So for the expired is, okay, so everything he just went over for the expires, it will be there for the homeowners with equity, and everything else we're gonna go over, it's going to be in the PowerPoint, so then you can have a reference for later on. So now I'm gonna touch into homeowners with equity. Why this is such a great lead source to tap into, because not a lot of people do it. Banks do it all the time. If you notice, and you're one of them that has a lot of equity in your house, you're constantly getting mailers from banks trying to have you pull the equity out of your house. What a lot of people don't realize is that a lot of people, investors fall under this category. A lot of them are ready to sell because they are sitting on so much equity. Or if it's an older couple, a lot of times they want to downsize. It's a great, it's great people to target because more than likely they are eventually going to want to sell. The average family stays in their house for about 10 years, and that's on average. Antonio, can you watch the chat in case there's any questions in the meantime? Because when I'm on the screen share, I'm not looking at the chat. Yes?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so for the homeowners with equity, we're gonna be using the tax search. Pick an area that you like, or maybe an area that you know has high turnover. So it's funny he used Hialeah. I'm actually gonna use it also just because I think we all pretty much know that that area moves a lot. So in order to find these specific properties, you want to narrow down here in your search field as much as possible, the area and then the type of homes you want to focus on. So since we are going to be doing Hialeah, let's do owner city equal to now. Comprised of multifamily, single families, and also condos. So be as specific as you like, so you're not getting thousands and thousands and thousands of search results. So go here to property use code, in parentheses state. Here you get to select specifically what type of property you want to focus in on.
Can you share your screen, the part of iMAPP, because we're looking at the PowerPoint presentation.
No, I'm on my iMAPP.
Okay, then, okay.
Catherine, on the share screen option, choose your entire desktop in case you have to switch back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Is everyone only seeing the PowerPoint?
Yes.
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 Sorry about that, guys. Give me a second.
Yes.
Again, we're still a little new to this.
To the Zoom.
Click the share screen button on the bottom and select entire desktop.
Okay, I'm just gonna stop and restart it. Okay, can everyone see it now?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, thank
Great.
you.
Great, great.
Yes, thank you for restarting.
Awesome.
Again, sorry about that.
How many ounces?
But you're supposed to know that. Why are you asking me? You're supposed
Okay, so start this again. Okay, so property city equal to we're gonna do Hialeah. Property use code.
Not right. But why would I supposed to tell you?
Single family. Now, in order, guys, please have your videos on mute to minimize background noise. Okay, now to find specifically the properties that have equity in them, less than or equal to I like to do January 1st, 2005, pre-crash. Anybody that is still holding on to their houses before that time is sitting on a great amount of equity right now. So click start search.
Catherine,
Yes.
I'm sorry, only because you switched screens. Can you go back for a second?
Yes.
On the property use code, why did you select 01?
When you click on there, can you see how it says vacant residential?
Okay, great, thank you.
You're welcome.
I just saw somebody else had that question too.
Oh, okay, perfect. So that's where you get to select the specific type of properties. When you click on it, the code pops up. Okay, so start search. And this is what I had mentioned before about the obscene number of results that you could get. There's over 5,000 results. If you're gonna do a mailer, that would be quite expensive. However, if you wanna use this to, let's say, call the owners, there is a way on the tag search to pull phone numbers. If the owners have a public phone number, it's going to pop up and you're going to be able to get this information and you're getting it for free. So you're not going to get 5,000 results, but this will definitely give you a good amount of calls to do for several days. So the way you can access that in particular, go here to download results, click on phone. You can click here on select custom download fields if you want to, let's say, take anything out. But for now, let's just leave it as is. Select if you would like to download it in CSV, Excel, and then just download it. Okay, so your CSV opened up here. Now, to bring up everything that has a phone number, just highlight everything over on the left-hand side, right-click, go to custom sort, and pick telephone number. You have all these phone numbers. And you have quite a few, a little over 3,000 a little over 2,000 phone numbers that you're going to be able to call.
So the several questions are coming up in the chat that are asking, what about the do not call list?
Definitely reference them with the do not call list. It's their job. So just plug in that phone number before to see if it does populate on the do not call list. Any other questions on the chat for now?
No, you're good.
Okay. Now, as I was mentioning before, thinking outside the box, what else can we do? So let's go back here to browse the results. To get an idea, let's say, of what's selling in that area, just to get a ballpark figure, let's pull up the sales for the last year and just get the average. So we see more or less what we're working with. I'd like to remove the distressed properties, so no short sales and no foreclosures. Oh, and we're doing single family. So we have 771 results. Now, let's say we're doing a mailer and we want to narrow this down even a little bit more. Let's say we want to focus on East Hialeah, let's say. Let's go to refine the search and let's add a zip code. Let's say 33013, and we do the same thing here. We have all the results here. Now to get at a glance, averages, just click all, go to print. I love this format here, the CMA one line. Go to the very last page. It's going to give you the average days on the market, which in that area are about 60, which is phenomenal, 61. And your average price point is about 332. That's your bread and butter. So it's a fast turnover area. So that's good. So start search. Narrow down instead of the 5,000 plus, now it's a little over 2,000. Again, you can narrow it down even more. Now here, you see here where it says the last sale, July 1st, 1990. He bought it for 75,000. Last sale, July 1st, 133, 195. This other person, 60,000. This other person, 21, 36,000. They are sitting on a lot of equity. So let's say a mailer that you can do. I think it's safe to say that on average, that the houses in that area are probably sitting more or less on about 250,000 worth of equity. Would you agree? Let me move this here. So this is just like an example mailer that you can do. Average home has over 250,000 in equity. Do you know how much equity is in your home? With contact me today, your information, your brokerage, and your phone number, of course. That's going to catch attention and it's immediately going to spark interest in whoever is reading that. Now, you can do mailer specific. If you want to be a little bit more broad and again, think of your budget, you can do, let's say, door hangers. And then just, you know, pay someone's kid to go and just hang them all over specific neighborhoods to see if you get any calls. Because even if somebody bought maybe a year, 2 years, or 3 years ago, that's still going to spark interest and it's going to trigger a phone call to you, which is exactly what you're looking to do. You're looking to get in front of as many people and talk to as many people as possible. Okay, so I showed you phone numbers. Now, to create mailing labels, very simple. But before you do, and actually before you even pull any phone numbers, very important, here in the middle, go to sort and then click on MLS status ascending. This also talks to the MLS. There's no way of weeding these out at the beginning in the search fields, but this is where you would remove this to make sure you're not prospecting on a property that's already for sale. So when you click on MLS status ascending, you see all of these have the little green flag. Those are all currently for sale. If you click on them, it'll open up and show you the listing right now and the property information on the home. So in this case, just uncheck all of these except for the last two. So out of all the results, we only had 23. Commit to the changes, and now you're good. All the properties that are pulled right now are not listed on the MLS by any realtor. So you're good to go. Now you would go over here to create mail list. You want to send it over to the owner at the owner address. Very important that you put that, because if it goes to the actual house and they're renting, they might just chuck it in the trash. You want to make sure that this goes over to the owners. If you select this, it's going to automatically pull their names or whatever's on public record, their address, and it'll get sent to them. You pick the labels that you bought, generate labels, and boom, you're done and good to go. All right, any questions on this section? Antonio, can you see the chat and see if there's any questions?
There's been a side conversation about asking what if they've refinanced or requested a line of credit. The answers that have been given have been to cross-reference it with Remind or RPR, but that's only if you wanted to whittle down the list any further.
Right.
Show the original search real quick.
I'm sorry?
Can you show the original search real quick?
Yeah. So at any point in time when you want to go back, very important to click on refine this search, not new search, because then it's going to wipe everything out. Okay. What was your question?
Regarding the recording, I had a question on the chat regarding if this class is going to be recorded. Yes, I just had a confirmation from Kevin. It will be recorded. It is being
All the
recorded.
classes are going to be recorded. So reference to them, the PowerPoint are also going to be sent out to everybody. So you can use those as a reference also. All right. Okay, so next item that I want to show everybody, also great to target, are renters. So let's say you get a listing in a particular neighborhood and you're excited, you want to tell absolutely everyone about it. Fantastic. You plug in your information, you pull all the owners, you send out a mailer, just list it, great. Well, what about targeting the renters that already live and love the neighborhood? Most people don't do that. If somebody is already living in the neighborhood, they like where they live, half the time they really don't want to move. And if you can show how affordable it is to live there, more than likely they're going to give you a call. Or even if, let's say, you don't have a listing, do a little bit of research and find an area where the rent is not that different from, let's say, your mortgage. So I have this example here. Now, has anyone, and these are the suggestions mentioning, you guys are gonna get to reference back. Now, has anyone ever seen this? The full lender condo approval list. If you work with specific lenders, most of the time they will send this to you every month for Miami-Dade and Broward. These are condos that are approved for either a 3% to 5% down. This type of financing still exists, hasn't gone away. And now we also have the FHA spot approvals. With the FHA spot approvals, the requirements are very similar to what the condo needs to get on this approval list, which is the reserves, the renter occupancy, and to make sure that there's no litigations against the condo. So if it's on this list, there's a pretty good chance that, let's say, if you're working with a first-time home buyer and they only have that 3.5% down, that it would get FHA approved. The only thing we don't know is what's the percentage in the building yet of FHA loans. That they would have to go through the condo approval, the full review, and then we would know. But again, this would be a great way to find out. So I'm going to use this example here. Hampton Isles. It's over in Pembroke Pines. It's a great community. It's on that list. It qualifies for, let's say, an FHA spot approval. Go on Matrix, do a little bit of research, find out the average price of the properties that are selling. The average price there is about $250. So if they put a 3.5% down and let's say they have great credit, your average mortgage payment is going to be about $2,100. Now, same thing, do a little bit of research on Matrix, find out what the average rent is. There, the average rent is about $1,900. It's a $200 difference. It's a no-brainer. over the years, you're going to get rent increases. So eventually you're going to be paying $2,100 or maybe even more. When you purchase something, you're building equity and it's the same monthly payment every single year. So you're guaranteed at least that. You put the cost comparison, average down payment. For renting, yes, it's going to be less. It's $5,700 because it's first loss security and, you know, depending if they have a pet fee or not. Average down payment for 3.5% is $8,750. But again, it's not that much more. If you put things in perspective and right in front of them, they'll save when they see that the difference is only $3,000 and they can own the place that they're living in. So how do you find these renters and target them? And this is a very easy way to contact for all types of budgets. If you have a bigger budget, you can definitely do a mailer. If the community allows it, you can do a door hanger, or you can also do a brochure and just leave it at their door.
Another thing I wanted to add is think about the attachment people have when they rent. They already embedded their kind of like the roots in that area. They have their kids in school. They know their way around. They have their stores, hospital, everything already pointed out to them. So it's very comfortable for them to stay and buy within the same area. So think about those strategies when you're farming, when you're doing your marketing in those to renters.
Exactly. And when you're having these appointments with potential buyers, let's say in the future, and you're doing the cost comparison, also bring up, let's say you are paying $1,900 in rent, that's almost a little over 22 grand a year that you are throwing away in rent. At least if it was towards your mortgage, and let's say you have to sell in a couple years, you're going to get some of it back plus whatever equity you built into the house. You're renting and you move, all you're getting back is your security deposit, if that, and that's it. So it's a great investment. Okay, so how do we find these renters? So you go still under tax search. Now make sure always you are in the correct county. The great part about this program is that it speaks to every single property appraiser in Florida. So since I'm doing Broward right now.
Catherine, can I add something?
Yeah, of course.
If you don't mind, I'm sure there's other agents here that are also mortgage savvy or mortgage officers, but on your previous slide that you showed the comparison of the rents with what the new mortgage would be, you know, so on and so forth. Just be careful. You may be triggering Reg Z's and other types of disclosure requirements when you start putting in, this is how much down payment you require, this is how much, because everything's dependent on APR and the interest rate, so be careful.
No, of course, and I'm glad you brought that up. I was gonna at the end show some examples. Always cover ourselves with the right disclosures at the end, always. Even if you were doing just a regular marketing campaign, let's say featuring the closed sales in the neighborhoods, we always put that disclosure at the bottom. These properties were sold by members of the MLS. In this case, same thing. These are average payments. Payments will depend on credit score and actual interest rates. So always put that just to protect ourselves. Thank you for bringing that up.
Sure.
Okay, so we're here under tax search. So since we're using that particular community, I'm a big fan of always using the legal description. Okay, so legal description starts with Hampton Isles. Property city starts with Pembroke Pines. And if you're using the legal description, always include the property city, just in case there's another Hampton Isles in another city that we don't know about. So we don't get those in our results. Now, to give you an idea how this specific community is a great area to target, let's leave it as is and start the search. This is going to show you every single unit in that community. So there's 229. Now let's go back. And how we find specifically, or more than likely that they're being rented, we go here to owner occupied equal to no. And this is going to pull up all the homes that are not being occupied by their owner. More than likely, I know this specific community, auto renters, and you're gonna any. Almost 50%, 112 properties right now in that community are renting. So before you do anything, same thing, go here to MLS status ascending, just to make sure there's nothing on the market, even though technically you're not marketing the owner, you're marketing the renter. But if you want to play it safe, sort it through there and then remove these and create your list. Now, just in case if anyone has a question about phone numbers. On the tax search, yes, you can pull phone numbers, but you're not going to get the phone number of the renter. You're always going to get the phone number of the owner. Now, if you're doing a mailer, go to create mail labels. You want to select occupant, and then here, replace it with, let's say, future homeowner. Because there's no way of knowing the exact names of the renters in those units. Select your labels and then select if you want to create it via Word or a CSV file. All right, any questions so far? Antonio, can you check the chat? All right.
Yes, I'm on it. We're answering a few questions and
You're good.
We're good.
We're good, okay. Okay, so let's start the new search. Now, next part I want to show you, and again, not everyone targets these, are the pre-foreclosures. We see them in our MLS as short sales. I would highly suggest, especially with, we don't know how everything's going to turn out, but take classes on short sales so you know the proper procedures, how it works. This program here gives you the ability to pull anything that has a judgment on it. Anything that has a judgment on it could be a potential short sale listing for you if you know how to properly work it. So this is when we would use the foreclosure search tab here. And again, let's pick the appropriate county. Let's see, Antonio, give me an example. Antonio?
Yes. I'm here.
You want to give me an example?
You want to use somewhere in Broward? Foreclosure.
Let's be broad first, and then I can narrow it down a little bit more. Just to give you an idea of how many there are out there right now, let's just use a general Miami-Dade County search. So how we want to find these, again, if you're being more area specific, if you farm a specific area, then narrow it down here to your specific area. If you just want to be broad and let's say just keep an eye on a day-to-day basis of any new list pens that hit the market, then you could just leave it general Miami-Dade in case you just want to do a mailer. So main thing here is judgment sale date. So the judgment sale date, always make sure that it's equal to blank. We don't want anything that already has a sale date. Because once it has a sale date, usually they're anywhere from a month out or sooner. At that point, you're not gonna have enough time to meet them, prospect them, get the listing, put it on the market, go under contract, it'll end up being an auction in no time. So just make sure that there's absolutely no sale date. Next important part, list pens equal yes. My screen just froze. Can you guys see me?
We can see you. I can
Okay.
see you. Yeah.
No, you're frozen. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, we can see.
I think I'm good again. All right, and then filing date. Filing date, the sweet number would be anywhere from 30 to 60 days out. So in this case, let's put greater than or start your search. Right now, there's 807 properties in the entire Miami-Dade County that have a list pens on them. That means that they're behind on their mortgage. The bank has already put a judgment on them, and they're in the foreclosure process. Right now, actually, it wouldn't be a bad time to prospect. Come from an area of empathy. These people are scared, so these are the ones you have to have a little bit more compassion with, and come from a place of empathy, as I mentioned before.
Catherine, can you go back to refine the search 1 second, because the computer froze and we missed it.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll go over it again. Foreclosure search tab. Again, if you want to be area specific, then narrow it down here. If you just want to focus in on your farm area or a specific city. Right now, I'm just doing a general example of Miami-Dade County, just so everyone can see how many there are out there, because all of those are possibilities. The three main things that, no matter how you're narrowing it down, need to be the same is here. Make sure you select list pens equal to yes, that your filing date is about, I would say, 60 days back, and then your judgment date is equal to blank. This is the most important, judgment sale date equal to blank, because we do not want to prospect on something that has already a sale date, that it's going to auction. More than likely, most of the time when they have a sale date, it's usually within the 30 days. I think everyone heard me before. You're not going to have time. It's not going to give you the time to prospect them, get the listing, put it on the MLS, have it on the MLS for the 10 days that the bank requires, negotiate, go under contract, and go through the whole process. So always make sure that it's equal to blank. Click on your start search and make sure to click here and sort by MLS status ascending. That way you can remove any properties that are already listed by an agent. And you see there's already several that are on the market. Anything you see with the little green flag means it's currently on the MLS. Now for here, relationships are very important. If you have never negotiated a short sale yourself, partner up with an attorney or a title company that specializes in these. Because once you get the listing agreement, all you have to do is pass it over to them, and then they'll take care of that side of the transaction for you, of negotiating with the bank. And then all you have to worry about is just putting it on the market, getting a contract, and then the title company or the attorney will take it from there. Any questions so far? All right, so I'm gonna hand it over back to Antonio, and he is going to go over. Antonio. Antonio, you're muted.
Got it. Okay, great. A lot of information. Great part Catherine. I know foreclosures have a lot of details, and it's great to know how to get to them. Another suggestion is to always practice with this, guys. Use iMAPP, have fun with it, practice, save your searches, go back to it. That's what's gonna give you the expertise on it, okay? I'm gonna go on to showing how to find properties with delinquent taxes. I found this one to be fun because I'm a curious person, and I always like to look up in those. And one of the reasons why I found this is because I work with a not a developer, a contractor which builds properties in West Palm Beach. He asked me, can you find me vacant lots of land that have delinquent taxes, and how can we reach the sellers? His strategy is good, and the idea behind that is, if they are not paying their taxes on a vacant land for X amount of years, and you reach them and ask them to, do they want to share? Do they want to sell? I'm sorry, I was reading something here. Most likely, they will say yes. Again, think about this. They have a piece of land they haven't used, they haven't developed, and they haven't been paying their taxes. So it's kind of like a burden to them. They might want to sell it. But in general, you can find all types of properties that haven't been paying their taxes. Okay, so I'll get into that. I'm trying to move this setting from here. Okay, so starting again from MLS tax search, and this is basic. This is very simple to do. You just gotta know the steps. So go to your tax search and find this tab. If you guys are following me here, taxes are delinquent, okay? You wanna say equals to, and you wanna select yes, right? Now, again, select an area, know your target, develop a strategy to get at them. So I usually like to go zip codes. This is a broader search. So let's go with a city. City of property city. Property city, okay? I'm gonna go with city of Miami. I'm pretty sure we're gonna find quite some information there. So in general, taxes, you can go back many years. It's not only like when you're doing expired listings, you could go back several years, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. We all know that after 7 years, it becomes an issue, the property can be sold. So I just go back just a couple of years. I usually do a refine and I start looking for other properties. Again, here's the boom with Miami. So as you can see, over 5,000 properties with delinquent taxes. And this is a lot of information, a lot of properties to sort out through, and too much farming or marketing, too big of an area. And I go back to refine. Just get acquainted with iMAPP, play with it, and you should be fine. Let's go to my city. Let's go Hialeah. Okay, you have 1,019 results. And these they go on from vacant land, condos, single families, all type of property it's gonna mention there. How you are able to refine is that on property, state property, property address, property use code by the state. Here's where you're gonna start filtering what type of properties you're looking for. Again, to me, I'm working a campaign with a developer which he wants to find vacant land. So automatically I go find vacant land, select it, and now I'm gonna go on a broader search because again, here are the results within Miami for vacant land, 496 results. We go back to something that we keep repeating. Think outside the box, develop a strategy, get to the people that are not paying their taxes so that you can be that sort of help. You might have a client, if you think about it, you might have a client that might be interested on a vacant piece of land at a good price. So that right there, you try to match your buyer with the seller by letting them know, hey, I have somebody that is interested in buying your piece of land. Try to be cautious with letting them know that they're not paying the taxes. Some people are sensitive to that. They don't really like that. Just try to get at them by offering that you have a potential buyer for their piece of property, which they haven't been paying their taxes. Again, the steps are to download the information are basically the same. You get to this right corner here and you start downloading the information. Katherine did an amazing explanation on how to get to them. I had an issue with downloading the results, but I will try again. Here, you're gonna be able to select the owner's address, property address. I usually pick a few of them, street address, and then I'll start downloading. This is where I had an issue with my, okay. There we go, I have that error. But to illustrate the example on how you get to this is just basically the steps that I just went over, and you start downloading your mail labels. Again, great strategy to get at people that are not paying their taxes, finding properties. Partner up with a developer, a general contractor that's developing properties. I know a few of them, and this is the strategy that we're attacking. They want to buy land. It also generates listings for you because that's part of our agreement. If I find vacant lots for you and we're able to cap on those and buy them, you start developing. Our agreement is that I take the listing. So again, you're taking the first initial sale, you add your commission, the developer is going to pay for it. Then once they develop the land, you have several listings or one listing. Because you're making the commitment to find that. And you're developing that relationship with that developer. That is, I think that's a win-win situation. That's a win-win strategy. It just takes time. It takes repetition to cap on these, okay? This is simple to get at, and it's just something different. I'm gonna give to Katherine. She has some more information. Any questions? Any questions on this part?
Somebody did ask if it was possible to see how far back the taxes are owed. I'm not sure that really matters, but yeah.
Yeah, there is a tab for the delinquent taxes. There is a tab for the years that the properties haven't paid their taxes. And I'm gonna get to those. Greater than. This is where you enter the years that, are you able to see my screen?
No, you switch down to greater than for year built. That's not actually part of your taxes.
I'm sorry. Yeah, year built. Taxes are delinquent. I will have to, this is.
If there's not a way, it's okay. Catherine
Yeah.
responded with how you can look it
Yeah,
up.
well, I'm gonna get back to you on that question because that's a part that I have to get at. What else on the bottom one? No, I will get back to you on that question. Please send me an email. I'm gonna go ahead on the chat and provide you my email address so that I can personally get back to you on that question.
Yeah, everything we've shown you, you can go into so much more detail and spend, I mean, easily an hour class on. So it's just picking what you really want to focus on and targeting them. Taxes is a great, great source also. And if you really want to see the years that they haven't paid the tax, you can just always go on the Miami Property Appraiser or bcpa.net if you're in Broward, and then look and see which years they haven't paid. How you can use that, not sure, but eventually, if they go a long time without paying their taxes, eventually they can get foreclosed on. So, and you need to let them know. That's why this is a great tool and another great aspect of prospecting, because you can let them know if, let's say they only have a $10,000, $20,000 tax bill and they have a house that they're sitting on $150,000 worth of equity, you can present all this to them and, you know, they have a problem, they need to sell, they owe money. You're the problem solver. You can offer them the solution and then offer them the solution and show them how long it'll take you to sell it, the average days on the market, what you can do for them, your marketing process. So all these are just different ways of prospecting. And again, not a lot of agents are doing these. Last week's presentation, I remember we went over geographical farming and how to pick specific areas. So this is just like a little added bonus of how you can also use iMAPP to pick the right farming location. As I went over last week, you want to find an area with at least 1,000 to 2,000 homes with a 3 to 5% turnover, average days on the market, hopefully under 90 days. Those are your sweet spots in order to find a good area to really nurture. So Antonio, I know you wanted to show everyone how to.
Yes, and I'm gonna be getting at that part on how you find a good niche for your farming. I'll start off with a new search. Again, I try to keep it very, very local. I try not to go too broad. I think that's my theory, that I think as local as you can get to, you have more chances of being successful. Okay, so what we're trying to do is we're trying to determine if this area that you're trying to choose for farming, if it's worth it or not. Here we're going to evaluate, we're going to get the total number of properties within a subdivision, and we're going to analyze the number of sales within that year to know how much movement in terms of percentage we've had. Typically, anywhere above 3%, 4%, it's a good farming area. I've seen 6.5, 5.5, 5.0 percentage of sales within that area. That tells you that within that area, there is movement and people are looking to move, either buy or sell, and there's just plenty of movement. So I'll get to that now. Again, I go division. We're on the iMAPP main page. Search. Let me start the search all over. Okay. This is a subdivision that I know the name of. Again, my Hialeah. So some of these subdivisions I've explored before, and I know their name. rise us up. I already had it here. So I'm just going to give the example of pulling up the main number, how you're able to determine the amount of properties in this area. So we have 43 properties here. You take that number, 43 properties in whichever area, and go back to redefine. Now, within that property, within that subdivision, I'm gonna get to sales within a year, greater than. You choose greater than and select, I'm gonna go back to the beginning of 2019, 01/01, 2019, okay? We have 3 sales within that subdivision. That's a very small subdivision. It only has 43 properties, but it goes to show that you have a little bit of movement in that area. So if you go and you divide these 3 sales by the 43, it's gonna give you 6.9. Yeah, it's gonna give you 6.9% of movement in this area. Again, the main reason for doing this is because you want to spend your money wisely. You don't want to throw away your money. You want to know that where you're farming, there is movement. You want to have your target set. You want to know that area, that you have movement in that area. Okay, so that's why I take this extra step, which I learned a few years back with Mr. Roque, and it has worked out. Again, my niche is small, Hialeah Gardens. I have plenty of sales there, and it's proven that these strategies, they work. Okay, so this is how you're able to determine if that farming area is worth it or not. Partner up with I suggest always to partner up with somebody to cover the cost for these. I have a lending company that partners up with me in doing these, and we offer estimate of mortgage. We do free report analysis of the value of their homes, and I've gotten quite a few feedback hits on these marketing campaigns. So I highly recommend these, and go at it. Again,
Yeah.
play with iMAPP.
Absolutely. Like you said, relationships are extremely important. I mentioned before about having a good title agent, if that's something you're going to be targeting, or even if not, just in general, have a good one. Lenders love covering costs, especially they love covering costs if you've used them in the past and they're getting business from you. So like, for example, the farming method of targeting renters, if you do a campaign, a mailer campaign, and you co-brand it with them, they are going to be more than happy to either cover half your costs or even cover your costs completely. I have agents that have their costs, their marketing costs completely covered by their lenders because they get also business from the flyers that they're sending out, and they're they're their go-to person for that agent. So think outside the box. Being an agent, I mean, it comes with some costs involved, but there's so many different ways to get expenses covered. You just have to find the right people, and again, have the right plan. If you, let's say, go to a lender and ask them to cover, this particular marketing cost, they're not just going to do it because you're asking them. You have to show them why you're doing it, the results you expect to get, and then of course the value they get out of doing this.
Yes.
If you present everything that way, they're going to be more than happy to help you out because it's a win-win situation for both.
Some of these companies, they have a budget reserved for their marketing, and they're willing, they're eager to use it along with you. So I found that out with my partners, and they just said, let's go, let's do it, because they already have that set up on the side for marketing. So reach out to your lenders, reach out to your partners, and go after those, because I'm pretty sure you're going to get some hits on those. Catherine, back to you.
Yeah, let me share my screen really quick because I see on the chat a couple people are also asking about another farming example. So let me just touch on the one from last week just to give everybody an idea. So click stop.
Stop share. Okay. There you go.
All right, bear with me 1 second so I can pull it up. Okay, let me start my screen share. Okay, perfect. As it's loading, as I had mentioned before, a good area, anything from 1,000 to 2,000 homes with a, I would say 4 to 5% turnover minimum. If you can get the turnover to be higher, even better. So let me quickly show you a little bit also of how I get my numbers. So the example I gave last time was, let's say, Silver Lakes, but specifically the Silver Lakes portion over in Pembroke Pines. There's a little over 2,700 single family homes there, 22 active currently right now. In the last 12 months, 129 have closed. It's a 4.76 average conversion, which is good. And the average days on the market there, 53. Average price is 408. So again, bread and butter, these are the high turnover areas, which are very ideal to farm. So to find the actual numbers of the homes, of how many homes are in the neighborhood, go over to iMAPP new search. We're gonna use the tax search. Again, my preference, I like using a lot the legal description. Property city, Pembroke Pines, specific because it does extend over to Miramar, but I just want to focus in on that area. And then property use code, use the one that has a parenthesis state. I just want to target single families. Important in that area to do it because there's also a lot of villas and then townhomes. So I just want to target single families. Well, when it pops up, it's going to show a little over 2,700 now. Let me bring this down over here. To get your sold properties, well, to get your sold properties, go over to Matrix. Sorry, keeps freezing. Over to Matrix, pull up closed sales from the layer, and that's going to come down. Just all the units that are in the area. That's going to give you that 4.7.
I'm sorry for interrupting you. That all of that was lost on my end. I'm guessing that it was lost on a lot of other people too. And they're shaking their heads yes.
Oh, okay. So once you have the number of units that you got from iMAPP, similar to how I showed you to in the rental portion. So you have about the 2,700 homes. You go on Matrix and then you pull the closed sales for the past year, the last 12 months, specifically single family homes. That's gonna give you the 129 closed sales. Divide that and it's gonna give you the 4.76 average turnover, which is great. And then the average days on the market there is close to 60, which is also amazing. Again, bread and butter, high turnover areas. All right, any questions on that? No, we're good? All right. So I hope everyone found this valuable. They can take something away. that they're going to be able to use in their day-to-day business. If you have any questions, always feel free to reach out to us. One last thing I do want to mention, because one of our other Miami leaders is going to be hosting a great live YouTube tomorrow. I had touched last week on generating leads through Google, and he's going to be doing a free live training tomorrow at 2 p.m. So let me just share that slide so everyone can tune in. All right, so if everyone just follows the known agent on Instagram, clicks on the link, it's gonna take you over to the YouTube channel. Make sure the ringer bell, the notification bell is on. That way, the minute he goes live tomorrow, you're gonna be notified. And again, it's great information. It's something that he normally does charge for, but he is going to be doing it for free for everyone to show us how to generate leads through Google. These are high intent leads, so I hope everyone can tune in also.
Alfredo is going to have great information. It's a lot of information, so be prepared to take down notes, but it's amazing. It's amazing the training that he has put up together. Great value. As Katherine mentioned, it's a class that he charges, and he's going to offer it through this platform. Thank you so much for attending our class, and we'll be providing the recordings, and we'll be doing a second iMAPP class. Thank you so much.